Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Historical Humans Reacts. And in today's episode, we're going to be looking at Rome Reborn. A new 3D virtual model lets you go visit some of the greatest Roman monuments without ever having to step foot in Rome or Italy, because why would you?
Mhm. Yeah. So Rome Reborn is a project that has been going on for decades at this point. 13 years ago, there was the unveiling of Rome Reborn 2.2. And just this very month, almost, I believe. Sorry, last month, in the final weeks of November of 2023, Rome Reborn 4.0 was unveiled. Now,
Ooh.
what this is a series of computer generated reconstructions of the city of Rome as it is understood to have existed in the 4th century. Um, what this means is that all the ruins have been restored. The various buildings that now exist under modern buildings have been reconstructed to a what archaeologists understand to have been their form and appearance during that time period. This is a very long project. It is under a project leader, a man by the name of Bernard Fischer, who is a very accomplished classical archaeologist whose specialization is in digital reconstruction. Uh, this, and things like this, they can help you do a lot of things. You can tour Rome as it was. You can see and preserve various sites as they are or as they were. And this is a very good tool. We or at least I highly recommend it, and I think it's pretty fun to look at. However, I come with the caveat of this should not replace actual preservation and archaeology, as not only is the technology changing constantly that we use to do this, so too is our understanding. And the 13-year leap from Rome 2.2 to Rome 4.0 is representative of that. It wasn't just the graphics and renditioning that needed to be updated, it was also the understanding of the street layout, of the building materials, of the districts and the zoning, of the size of the city itself. There were major changes that were brought about by actual archaeological investigations.
And this is the point in which I wanted to talk about this because usually my
Mhm.
co-hosts are very Rome oriented. All
We
roads
are
lead back to
classicists.
Rome. They're
Yeah.
classicist, whatever. I love them nonetheless, but despite their problems, one of
Yeah.
the things that is important to highlight here is this also very lightly touches upon and a whole debate within the field of archaeology that I think the public should know about, and that is a digital preservation in place. One of the things that is starting to become more prevalent, and we actually saw with the destruction of the Notre Dame Cathedral in France, is these 3D reconstructions of sites, allowing them to be preserved in their place and in this um, technological bubble. However, there's a series of ethical concerns and a series of debate that arise with that. One of which Cullum has already very briefly brushed upon, where the technology and understanding can actually shift and change. We can learn more information from the beginning towards the apex of the programs, but also like one of the things that helps with Notre Dame is it was entirely mapped for a video game, and that's one of the reasons we're able to recreate it currently.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's clearly a valuable resource.
It is, yeah, it's a valuable resource. However, we should not mistake it for the be all end all of archaeology. Even if we have a full digital map of a site, we should still put every effort to preserve it. Um, that is, very much, I think, something that, even Professor Fisher, who is a professor at Indiana University, I think he would even agree with that, despite having spent nearly 30 years working just on this project.
This is something
It
that
is an
should be used to
impressive project.
this should be something that should be used to both supplement documentational record and also the archaeology record. There should be something to ground truth those items that are found, but also as a way to try and better understand the past and create recreations and see
Mhm.
potentially what the world we lived in could be like. And it could be a way to potentially increase modern tourism because you could see the past versus now. You could see what the modern streets look like. Like, there's a lot of practical applications of technology like this.
Yeah. And one of the things too with these recreations that we do uh have to keep in mind uh is that a lot of times is like we have to be careful of recreating the site as we see it in our minds or as we believe it was. Um, you know, one of the famous examples is the city of Troy. The,
Every time.
yeah,
Every time.
where no, because here's the thing: the city of Troy was a grand and ancient noble city. However, the city of Troy, at the time in which Troy is most famous, when it's under siege for 10 years, um, is much more rundown and disheveled looking than the original archaeologists liked. So they plowed through it to get to the older level prior to the war when the city was still flourishing. As you can see, the difference between our imagination of Troy as this grand and indomitable city that endured direct siege for 10 straight years versus the reality of you're under siege for 10 straight years. There is that. We have to be careful about creating a fictional Rome or a fictional, anything when we do these reconstructions because the reality is always going to be uglier than these pretty perfect AI generated art.
Well,
Or I
and
shouldn't say AI generated art, but computer generated.
it also very much can also fall into the realm of potential propaganda tools as well, because a lot of people in power tend to like to harken back to specific eras and specific places, and they like to make those connections to harken back to this great period, in which a lot of times that can be distorted. It can overstate the importance, overstate the grandeur. I mean, I could see a lot of applications where this goes way in the other direction.
Yeah, and archaeology's obsession with kings and wars and monuments is a very real legacy in the field of archaeology and a very much living testament to the ability of people to get distracted by the grand legacy of the past and neglect the shall we say grim reality of the past.
Well, and that's where us as archaeologists have to be cognizant of it and have to be hyper aware of the impact that we have, because we are seeing the actual and true ramifications of previous generations. And we are hyper cognizant not to replicate those same mistakes. Because as much as I repeat it, history is a finite resource.
Mhm.
And I cannot stress that enough. I don't know. I think that's a good point
I
for us
think
to wrap up here.
Yes, we should wrap this up here then. So Rome Reborn 4.0 is coming out. We are very interested and excited about it. Dr. Fisher has talked about a number of things he hopes to improve on already from what is already in Rome 4.0. So it's good to see that acknowledgement there. This technology is both wondrous and potentially very dangerous.
We just proceed with caution, and that'll be our takeaway. Proceed with caution.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.